Welcome to Bank Breakers. Now, if it's your first time with us, let me quickly tell you why I'm yelling at you through your computer screen. I'm here as your fantasy football genie. I'm here to help you spend your money a little bit smarter on FanDuel, to spend your money a little bit smarter on DraftKings, so that you make a lot more money on Sunday. Because isn't that why we play the game? I'm here to tell you about the hidden gems, the value picks, the dart throws. I'm here to help you take a $1 investment and turn it into $100,000. But you know what we're doing right now? We're wasting time. So enough of this bantering back and forth, and let's get into it. As always, we open with quarterbacks.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick at quarterback this week is Tyrod Taylor. Now, I hate going against the greatest team in the land, the New York Giants. But Tyrod Taylor has hit this league harder than Hurricane Joaquin. On the year, Taylor averages 238 yards per game for 2.3 touchdowns. He's also yielding a 74.4 completion percentage, and last week threw 21 completions for 277 yards and 3 touchdowns. And as I said before, he plays my Giants. And this year, the Giants have allowed opposing quarterbacks to chuck it around for 345 yards a game, 1.7 touchdowns, and 1.3 interceptions. They also aren't spectacular when it comes to mobile quarterbacks. Expect Tyrod Taylor to have a big game against a defense that brings less pressure than a deserted Caribbean beach with a topless Bond serving you bottomless mojitos. My next value pick is Alex Smith. The same Alex Smith that it took 21 games to figure out that a touchdown pass to a wide receiver counts for the same amount of points as a touchdown pass to a tight end. But that's not why I like him. The first reason why I like Smith is that he's priced at $6,500, meaning that he only needs to throw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns to hit his value. Luckily for us, he's playing Cincinnati, who has surrendered most of their defensive yards to tight ends and running backs. Through 3 games this year, the Cincinnati defense has given away 9.6 targets a game for 8.6 receptions and 64.7 yards to running backs. And to tight ends, Cincy has allowed 8 targets a game for 5.7 receptions and 56.6 yards. Now, I'm no math professor, but if you don't throw it to your wide receivers, you have to throw your ball to somebody. I'm thinking tight ends and running backs. I'm thinking Jamal Charles and Travis Kelce. Now on to the dart throw.
Wild card, bitches!
This week's dart throw is Colin Kaepernick. Stop it. No, I don't have a topless blonde sitting there serving me bottomless mimosas, and I haven't been overserved. And you know what? I'm chafed about it. But you know what I'm not chafed about? Is Colin Kaepernick this week. Kaepernick has value as he's playing Green Bay this week, and they are just awful in defending mobile quarterbacks. In the 3 games Cap has played against the Packers, he averages 300.7 yards through the air for 2 touchdowns, while also scampering for 100.3 yards on the turf and 0.7 TDs. Another reason to love Cap this week is no one will own him. With his abysmal game last week, 67 yards and 4 picks, everyone and their mother will scare from him. I hate putting Colin Kaepernick on blast, but screw it. I'm putting Colin Kaepernick on blast. Okay, now on to running backs.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick is Latavius Murray of Sparta. This is Sparta! Latavius Murray is back in our value pick section because he dominated last week. Last week, Murray ran the ball 26 times for 139 yards and a touchdown. Murray is averaging 17.3 per attempts a game for 82.7 yards and 0.6 touchdowns. On top of that, he gets thrown the ball 3.7 times a game for 3.7 receptions and 22.7 yards. And what makes Murray super sexy this week is his matchup against the Chicago Teddy Bears. The Chicago MO this season is to be incredibly outscored in the first half and force teams to run the clock out in the second half. On average, Chicago gives up 23.3 rushes a game for 111.7 yards and 0.7 touchdowns. Murray is a 3-down running back that will spend the entire second half eating the Chicago defense like it's a deep dish pizza. My second value pick is Carlos Williams of the Buffalo Bills. I know. Bill, how am I supposed to trust a guy that spells Carlos with a K? I had the same thought, but then I looked at his numbers. On the year, Carlos has been given the ball 24 times for a tally of 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last week alone, he marched for 110 yards and a touchdown. LaShawn McCoy is doubtful due to a hamstring injury, and with Shady out, Carlos will get all the touches, seeing as no other running back on the Bills has even a single rushing yard. But the best reason to start Carlos Williams is that he plays the New York Giants, who are the 5th easiest running back matchup this year. I'm pissed off about it. The next value pick on my list is Lance Dunbar. Would you stop putting Cowboys on my... I told you, no more Cowboys on the value. Fine. This week I like... On the season, he is averaging 7.7 targets a game for 7 receptions and 76 total yards. He has also played 82 of the 210 Dallas offensive snaps, which is tops amongst Dallas running backs. But what makes Dunbar super attractive this weekend is the Whedon effect. Last week, Dunbar was targeted on 12 of Whedon's 33 passing attempts and tallied 10 targets for 10 receptions and 100 yards. Another reason to think that Lance Dunbar is going to have a very effective Sunday is the fact that he's playing New Orleans. And New Orleans is the 28th ranked defense when defending the running back in the pass. Now, I hate the Cowboys, but Lance should have a pretty good week. Time for the hidden gem.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week is Eddie Lacy. Okay, we're all worried about his ankle injury, but he's a Green Bay Packer. And if you don't play through pain in Green Bay, the fan base will pull a Donald Trump, they'll build a wall, and they'll lock you out. Even with his ankle injury last week, Lacy was very productive, having 10 attempts for 46 yards and 3 receptions for 41 yards. He will also be playing San Francisco, who have surrendered, on average, 27 rushes for 114.5 yards and 2.5 touchdowns. In addition, San Francisco is the 6th easiest running back matchup this season. Although San Francisco was able to bottle up AP in week 1, don't expect him to put as many men in the box with the league's MVP lining up behind center. Dart throw time.
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week is Moses Melvin Gordon, because he's the son of a preacher man, yes he was. According to Pro Football Focus, Gordon ranks as the 6th most elusive running back in the league, as well as being 2nd in the most 20-plus yard runs this season. However, 25 running backs have played more snaps than Gordon. That's because when San Diego is losing or battling through a close game, they rely on the pesky vet Danny Woodhead. But this week, they host the Cleveland Browns and are favored by 7.5 points, which means Gordon will get the rock and churn the clock. I know it seems like every week we pick a running back that's playing against the Cleveland defense, but that's only because we do. Cleveland sucks. Expect Moses Gordon to part that sea, baby. Now it's time for wide receivers.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick on this list is James Jones. Now, old man Jimmy Jones is telling every team that cut him this offseason to suck it. This season, old Jimmer is averaging .44 fantasy points per route, and he's run an outstanding 104 routes. Last week, he straight balled out and caught 7 balls for 139 yards and a touchdown. Jones has a touchdown in 3 straight games and looks to add to that total this week in San Francisco as he matches up with Kenneth Aker, who has earned a -3 coverage grade from Pro Football Focus and has given up 205 yards to wide receivers this season. Expect Jimbo to continue his sold-out retirement tour through the Bay Area this week. The next guy on my list is Larry Fitzgerald. Now, I told you last week, Fitzy's back and it's gonna be trouble. Carson likes to throw him the ball. Of Carson's 88 passing attempts this season, 28 of those have gone Larry's way. And screw those that tell me he's getting older. This season, Fitz has been on the field for 180 of the 194 offensive snaps and is averaging .81 fantasy points per route. If those numbers don't convince you, this will. In the 2015 season, Larry has 9.3 targets a game, 7.7 receptions for 111 yards, and 1.7 touchdowns. But more amazing is that he has 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Since 2014, when Fitzgerald plays with a healthy Carson Palmer, he's catching 6.3 balls a game for 90.1 yards and .8 touchdowns. Carson Palmer's still healthy, and Larry Fitzgerald's still elite. Boom! My third value pick this week is Keenan Allen. He's a California Golden Bear with a California Golden opportunity to produce this week. So far this season, Keenan Allen is averaging 13 targets a game for 9.7 receptions, 105 yards, and 0.7 touchdowns. He also has attracted 33% of Phillip Rivers' passing attempts. Antonio Gates is suspended another week. Ladarius Green is yet to be cleared for his latest concussion, and second option Stevie Johnson has his toughest matchup of the season as Cleveland dominates slot receivers, only allowing 2.3 receptions per game for 36.7 yards. What can we derive from all this intel? Phillip Rivers will never be looking to pass to Kel, only his trusted friend Keenan. It's time for the Hidden Gem.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week is Michael Crabtree. Who? Mike. Imagine the Geico camel is in your living room right now, yapping in your ear, Michael Crabtree. This season, Crabtree has averaged 11 targets for 6 receptions, 61.3 yards, and 0.3 touchdowns a game. He's been targeted on 30 of Carr's 90 passing attempts and has been said to have the best hands on the team. Another strong reason to love Crabtree this week is his matchup against Chicago's Kyle Fuller, who Pro Football Focus graded at a -5 in coverage this year and has allowed 6.7 receptions for 80.3 yards to opposing wide receivers. With all the attention this week on David Carr and Amari Cooper, expect Mike to fly under the radar and be very sneaky.
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week is Allen Hurns. Listen, he's a lanky mofo that looks like he could be Gumby's little brother, but Hurns has proved time and time again that he belongs in this league. On the season, he averages 5 targets for 3.7 receptions, 66 yards, and 0.3 touchdowns a game. This week looks to be Hurns' week to explode, as Bortles' #1 option Allen Robinson will be shut down by Colts corner Vontae Davis. Rashad Green has been ruled out. Marquise Lee has been ruled out. In addition, the Indianapolis slot corner Gio Brown is one of the worst cover corners in the league and allowing 15 receptions for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. Now I know I keep selling you Jacksonville Jaguar trash, but you know what they say. One man's trash is another man's lottery ticket. Moving forward on to tight ends.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick for tight ends is Martellus Bennett. Now I know there's currently a fire sale in Chicago happening right now, but I still love Bennett this week. Mainly because he is playing the Oakland Raiders, who are dead last in defending the tight end. On average, Oakland surrenders 9.7 targets a game for 7 receptions, 101.7 yards, and 1.7 TDs a game to tight ends. To put it into perspective, the Alamo duo themselves, Crockett Gilmore and Gary Barnidge, combined for 16 targets, 11 receptions for 193 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks against Oakland. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, he averaged 6.5 targets a game for 5.5 receptions, 51.5 yards, and 0.5 touchdowns a game. Bennett this week has a low ceiling and a high price, and I think we all remember how the old saying goes, buy low, sell high. Time for the hidden gem.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week is Charles Clay. Somehow, I keep getting forced into choosing guys that are playing the Giants, and I am chafed about it. This year, the Giants are finding it quite difficult to guard tight ends as they give up 8.7 targets for 6.7 receptions and 80.3 yards per game. Pro Football Focus has rated them the 3rd easiest fantasy matchup for tight ends, and in Week 1 against Dallas, the Giants allowed the tight ends to score 3 times. Another reason to play Charles Clay this weekend is his opportunity. Sammy Watkins is doubtful. Percy Harvin is dealing with a hip injury, making Clay Tyrod Taylor's first option. I'm pissed off about it. Let's just move forward to the dart throw.
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week is Owen Daniels. Owen Daniels is one of those few NFL players that you want to bring home and introduce to the family. And after this week, you might just want to. Daniels and his Denver Broncos play the Minnesota Vikings, who are the 9th easiest tight end matchup this year, allowing 8.3 targets for 5.3 receptions and 56.6 yards a game. I understand that Daniels hasn't wowed this season, but that's only because of the competition. In week 1, he played Baltimore, who are first in defending the tight end. In week 2, he played Kansas City, who ranks 8th in defending the tight end. But in week 3, he played Detroit, the 6th easiest matchup for tight ends. And Owen tallied 9 targets, 2 of those coming in the red zone for 5 receptions and 28 yards and a touchdown. Playing in his 10th season with his best quarterback to date, expect this farm-raised Wisconsin boy to fool around and have himself a day. As always, we end with defenses and kickers. I like the Arizona Cardinals against the Rams, the Denver Broncos against the Vikings, and the Oakland Raiders against the Bears. Kickers. I like Mason Crosby and Brandon McManus. Now, if you use my value picks, my hidden gems, or my dart throws, you're going to have money to spend. So these are the elite guys that I like this week. Quarterback, I like Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton. Wide receiver, Julio Jones, Demaryius Thomas, and DeAndre Hopkins. And a tight end, Greg Olsen. Now, if you notice there aren't any running backs there, that's because I don't like any this week. Alright, so the moment you've all been waiting for. The fantasy teams I'm going to play this weekend. These are my FanDuel teams. As you can see, this is a $5 entry with $2 million of prizes. The next entry I have is also a $5 entry fee with, again, $2 million prizes. My third FanDuel team is a $10 entry with $300,000 of prizes. Here are my DraftKings teams. The first team I entered is a $5 entry fee that pays out $250,000 of total prices. Again, a $5 entry fee with $250,000 total prices. The third team is a $9 entry fee with $700,000 of total prices. But now the most important part is smart gambling. You have to play cash games. So on your screen now are our 2 cash games. You see my FanDuel team in white. That is a $25 entry fee that will pay me back $50 if I'm in the top half. The same goes for DraftKings. A $25 entry fee that pays the top half $50. We play cash games in order to protect our assets, and I advise you to do the same. Alright people, that's it. Another episode up, another episode down. Now, I know I just threw a lot of information your way, but that's only because I'm trying to help you gamble better this weekend. I'm rooting for you, I hope you're rooting for me. Right? Let's root for each other, let's gamble together. That's how this works. And as always, tune in Wednesday to see how we did, to see how much our portfolio grew, to see how our value picks played out, to see how many hits and misses we had. Also, you might get a couple laughs on how we comment on the NFL week that was. Anyways, it's time for you to leave.